Hello, this is a short tutorial how to add a new bridge to Tracardi. Bridges are listed here, and for example we will modify a REST API bridge to get some more data to just restrict it to some domain. Okay, to get started we have to find out where the bridges are stored. So you need to clone the code, and inside the code in the Tracardi repository you should find service setup and setup bridges, and in here we have defined all the internal bridges. So one of the bridge is a REST API bridge, and you can add additional fields, configuration fields to this bridge. So we are extending new bridge. If you would like to add new bridge, you just need to copy this, define all the fields. That would be new ID, new type, new name, description, some configuration if there is a configuration needed, and some form. When I will extend this bridge, then you will see what type of properties we have here. So I've already added one field. So this is a field, this is the field ID, and I would like to restrict this bridge to some domain. The first thing, I added the field name restrict to. It will be responsible for delivering information what kind of restriction we are requiring. This could be like domain, IP address, or non-restriction. So you will select it if you would like to restrict an event source to certain domain or IP. This is the type of the field. This is a select. In the properties I added label. This is the name of the field, and items. What items will be there? There will be like none in a select, domain, or IP. This is the ID of the value, and this is the label. I will also need an additional field. It would be the actual restriction. So let's name it restriction. Let's name it domain or IP address, and in here type domain or IP if the restriction. Okay, and this time it will be text. It will have only label. Let's name it domain. So now we have additional fields, and we need to add it to the config. So the default value will be none, and this is a restriction, and default value will be empty. So now I have my bridge, REST API bridge. I need to change it in the Tracardi configuration. To do so, I need to go to the API. So this is my API. Maybe I do it from the scratch. Type docs. Docs. This is the documentation of the API. I will authorize how I usually authorize to my system. Okay, now I have access to the API. Let's find bridge. Here we go, and there is a bridge reinstall. Let's click here, try, and execute. You should receive a response null, and now we should be able to see our new fields. I see a restriction, but I don't see the... Okay, I found the reason, because I did not restart the server, so my changes were not available to the API. So let's do it again. I've restarted the server. Now go to the bridge reinstall, click reinstall, and now let's do it again. Okay, we have all the fields. So right now we can select like domain and type zone domain.com, and well, we can save it. Let's save it like test bridge source. Okay, let's save it. So here we go, there's test source. In a row we see our configuration. Okay, so what we need right now, so actually we've defined a new bridge, actually extended the existing one, and now where can we use this information to restrict access? So what we need to go, we have to go to source validation and find validate source. This is available in tracking. Just let me find it in Tracardi services, tracking source validation. So this is the function that validates the source. What it does, it just checks if this is an internal source, then it checks if the ID exists in the database. If it doesn't exist, if it's none, then it raises the exception permission error. But in here, I actually did this. We have the source and the bridge and tracker payload. Tracker payload is all the data that we sent. So let's do a test. I will go to a test, create new test, and I will select my test source, some event type, and this is my tracker payload. Everything in here. It will also send some context, which is gathered from the browser, and it will use my created event source that has this bridge that we've modified. Okay, let's do a request, and let's go to our logs. So here we go. You can see that there is a truck, and we can see this is the bridge, and this is the payload. So it has everything we need. We have the source ID, we have metadata, and also what we have request. And in the request headers, we have the domain from which the data was sent. So this is the host, this is the API, but we have referrer and origin. This is where the request came from. We can go back, you can see here it is. This is the same thing. So now we can use this data to compare it with our configuration, but look in here, there's no configuration. So how to get the configuration? Get to source config, and we should see our configuration. Let's restart the server again. Okay, and let's run a test. So here we go, restrict to domain and restriction. This is our domain restriction. So in here you need to put some logic. It would be like if source config, and this is the key, restrict to. So let's maybe do it like this: get restrict to default value, I say none, equals to domain. Then here is some logic, another if, some logic, and if it's not correct, then we raise the permission error with some information. And the same we can do for IP. And basically this is it. This is how you restrict the event source and actually deliver the information how to restrict the event source from the bridge.